Hello everyone, my name is Dennis Morelli, and this is my final presentation for MBAD 6990, the fall semester. The industry I'm going to be speaking about is, in a broad sense, the automotive industry, which is gigantic, but specifically I'd like to narrow it down to a subsection, which is the electrical vehicle production. It's a very small subsection of the automotive industry, considering that there's really only a couple, unless you break it up into model types. The electrical vehicles represent less than 1% of the total sales of the automotive industry, but EV adoption is trending up rapidly, sometimes jumping 50 to 100, or essentially doubling in size year after year, especially depending on region. China is the largest purchaser of EV or electrical vehicles. They purchased 1.2 million in 2018 and are looking to crack the 2 million mark in 2019. The industry specifically offers luxury vehicles at really low cost and low maintenance operationally, and they have an incredible positive impact on the environment. This is my pestle breakdown. I'll leave it for a couple of seconds to review, or please pause if you need further review. The competition in the automotive industry is fierce. In the electrical vehicle subsection, it's a little less fierce. Domestically, General Motors is the closest competitor to Tesla with their Chevy Volt. They're a distant second. They sell about 100,000 less vehicles or Volts compared to Tesla's 4 models that they offer right now. The total auto industry represents a major obstacle for electrical vehicle adoption. There's just too many good substitutes that have been around for a long time. Even with really good gas mileage at this point, you're looking at upwards of 35 to 40 miles per gallon, so there's little incentive to change to an electrical vehicle unless you're very inspired to do so, especially considering that gas prices and diesel prices are at a relatively low cost. So, also, besides domestically, internationally, there's little competition for Tesla except in China. China is a very difficult market for them to break into. We'll go over some of the details later, but currently Tesla is the 8th best-selling EV brand. The top 7 are all Chinese nationalist government-backed companies. So, the driving forces for hopefully the switch to electrical vehicle adoption are the technological changes. Range for electrical vehicles has doubled in the last 10 years. You're looking at about 150 max 10 to 15 years ago miles per fully charged battery, compared to now Tesla's offering in the 350, 370 range with their battery optimization. I shouldn't say that as an electrical vehicle in whole. Tesla, really, they have the highest range and the highest efficiency by a pretty wide margin. So, but they developed all of that in-house, so they've really innovated their own technological changes to make this a viable product. Global environmental concerns are another huge issue. Personally, I know that there's some debate on whether there's a climate change issue. I'm going to proceed with the rest of this presentation as if it's fact. I know that there are huge environmental impacts by the generation and use of fossil fuels, and Tesla not only offers a substitute for the transportation portion of it, but they also offer a closed loop system with complementary products because of their mergers and acquisitions that they've developed, and essentially eliminating the need for fossil fuel generation if this were to be a commonly developed or a commonly adopted system by consumers. There are 2 main forces of pressure for Tesla: the bargaining power of buyers and the substitution, and those are coinciding factors. We touched on it earlier, but the prevalence of fossil fuel vehicles and the amount of options and quality of product that is offered right now means that there's a ton of substitutions for an electric vehicle, let alone for Tesla specifically. And they are really great options, which in turn, having all of those substitutions, consumers have a high amount of bargaining power. They have a huge amount of choices. They do not have to face any types of anxiety that would be caused by the compromises that using an electrical vehicle right now offer. So those are two very important forces of pressure that Tesla must overcome to really be a mainstream player if they're looking to get out of the niche role of selling 200,000, 250,000 vehicles a year. So, five forces framework. Please pause if you'd like to review. The attractiveness of the industry is, if you are a current automotive manufacturer, then the industry is moderately to high attractive. EV sales are trending up rapidly. If you're a current automotive manufacturer, you would have the resources that you could shift potentially to making electrical vehicles. Especially a lot of models for a lot of different brands have been phased out because they're no longer chosen by consumers, but those resources could be used to manufacture vehicles that upcoming generations find really attractive. Electrical vehicles are welcome on the most part by younger generations, and the more people making them, the more the prices drop, which makes them more affordable, and there's a cyclical aspect to this to where it would promote a faster adoption. For a new entrant into vehicle manufacturing, let alone electrical vehicle manufacturing, there's an immense barrier to entry. It's not an attractive industry at all. The research, development, and manufacturing capabilities are insane. It's actually a wonder that Tesla has been able to survive as long as they have, considering they've been operating at a less than profitable position, pretty much relying solely on private funding. Tesla's mission statement: to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. And we'll go over some complementary products that really bring into light what they're trying to accomplish here, but I think that that's a succinct, honest mission statement that they try. It's not fluff. It's not some marketing sentence. It's really their vision that they are trying to accomplish, and in their mind they are committed to doing what they can to save a portion or to help sustain humanity. Elon Musk, the CEO and co-founder of Tesla, and many other companies like SolarCity, SpaceX, Neuralink, and even PayPal, which I didn't know that until I started this research paper. Personally, he will not be happy until we've escaped Earth and colonized Mars. I don't really have any thoughts on that, but I think that if you look at the companies that he develops and the passion that he develops for, I believe that he means that, and I believe that the decisions that he makes on a daily basis are leading us to that goal. Whether Tesla as a company survives as an automotive company, the developments and innovations that they're creating are being transferred to sister companies such as SpaceX that would allow humanity potentially to generate their own electricity and have transportation on another planet. Tesla's best competency is their precise vision. I talked about the honesty and the lack of marketing fluff with both the mission statement and must statement, and I think that points to a really committed, precise vision that is driving the daily operations and is driving investors to continue to see what the company has potential to accomplish if they remain in operation. Competition strategies are the same as pretty much every corporation, to maximize their dollars on a quarterly basis and essentially try to drive up the stock evaluations for their stakeholders. So, there's innovations to competitors, and they develop new products that they think can be profitable, but there's really no goodwill inspiration. It's more just it's driven by profit, which is what corporations are designed to do. Even as late as June, probably currently. I just didn't find any articles about that. But Tesla is operating within the threat of bankruptcy. They've never been profitable over their 16-year period, but this year is the closest they'll ever come to hitting their production goals, and they may actually do it in the fourth quarter for their year end. Um, their stock evaluation has had large fluctuations over the last few years, and that's one of the issues with a non-profitable company is that they rely on their stock valuations to promote funding to keep operating. So it's really important for Tesla to start hitting production goals, meet customer demand, and strive for net profit. If not this year, then it's probably going to need to happen by 2020 or 2021. Competencies: vision, commitment, and vision. So I've talked about that. It's a really broad statement. It's hard to justify that as being a competency, but really it's the largest driver for the way that the company operates. It's not a company that operates to maximize profit. It's a company that operates to achieve a goal and hope that profit comes along with it, or understand that profit will come along with it. Whether the profit comes because the environment is so desperately bad that we have no choice but to switch to renewable energy resources and electric vehicles, or whether society just decides that it's more efficient, it's more cost effective. Either way, that's not necessarily the concern of Tesla as a company. It's their sole vision to make it so humans can control their own sustainability. Engineering is a fantastic competency. The research and development has been the primary force for Tesla over the last few years. The rest of this presentation will give my opinion that they need to switch from that into operations, where they have higher production and can meet sales goals and start being profitable in order to survive. At this point, I think they've designed a really viable product, and their engineering speaks for itself, as they are the leader in the technology portion of this, but they don't accomplish anything if they fade out within the next couple of years. And the competencies of innovation and reputation kind of speak for themselves, and Tesla just operating on a yearly basis without making any money is a willingness to take its own risk and confidence in itself to attain the ultimate goal. SWOT analysis. Vision, again, for the value chain. It's the main driver of the company. Without that, then I don't think the product would be the quality that it is, and the innovations would exist. Technology development, we talked about the hardware as far as the range and the batteries, but it's also the software development that is driving their AI division, and they really are probably going to be the first company to make it to a Tier 5 or a fully autonomous electrical vehicle. But they need to focus on production. They need to shift resources from focusing on Tier 5, as that's not a primary concern for most consumers. They need to shift resources to manufacturing, getting gigafactories built so they can meet production and exceed it, start selling vehicles for less money, get these vehicles into more people's driveways, which in turn creates a more energy efficient society. My Vero analysis. Tesla's main strategy is value creation through creating value through environmental factors, such as actually cleaning the environment or being better for the environment, and creating a intriguing, desirable vehicle that consumers want. Their growth and diversification, they merged with Solar City, and during that merge they also developed complementary products such as, well, not developed, but inherited solar panels, solar roofs, electrical generation storage units such as the power wall and the power packs, which can create a closed loop system for electrical solar generation at home, electrical storage at home, and then charging of your transportation, so that you would never have to rely on a fossil fuel for transportation and electrical generation, and the ability to keep the lights on. European sales are moderately successful. Not much to talk about, although this number is pretty impressive. 215 sales in 2015 compared to 29,000 4 years later. And it's speculated that Europe is going to purchase 3 times as many electrical vehicles in 2 years, so Tesla has huge potential there. China is a very difficult market to crack, as the Chinese government poses a lot of restrictions on international companies coming in. In order to gain a stronger foothold, Tesla has partnered with the company Lingyang to build a gigafactory in Shanghai, which will produce the first fully assembled Chinese Teslas. But currently Tesla, again, only represents 8% of EVs market in far as electrical vehicle sales. Their organization is very centralized. If they are going to scale to meet and exceed production and become a larger company, then they are going to need more flexibility, and regional offices are going to need to absorb more responsibility in order to meet different cultural demands. And ethically, it's a highly ethical company. It's trying to save humanity. So you can't, I don't think there's any moral question there. The most important ethical dilemma is AI and the legal and moral issues of critical events such as accidents, pedestrian strikes, accidents with other vehicles, self-driving malfunctions that cause the driver injury or death. So there's a really interesting dynamic that the technology is outpacing legislation, and it's also there's a lot of questions about how to answer. How do you evaluate this human life compared to this human life? Do you go by quantity of people? So if there's 5 people here and 1 person here and the vehicle has nowhere to go, does it steer for the 1 person, or does it wreck into the brick wall and kill the driver of the vehicle to avoid killing any of the pedestrians? You know, there's a lot of really difficult questions to answer that I don't think have a concrete solution, and that's going to pose some really difficult marketing and legal battles for Tesla in the upcoming years if they survive to meet those. This has been my presentation. It is, hopefully everybody has the impression that my biggest suggestion for Tesla is to focus on production, increase marketing, get the vehicle into people's hands, start solving the problem that they set out in 2003 to solve, which is making humanity more efficient, and focus on profitability so that you can actually achieve the goals, not just develop the product to achieve the goals. Thank you very much for listening.